In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Yeah, hey you gumpers, hola bon dia alegria, Munson here, looking a bit sweaty already, and sorry for being late this morning. I was just trying to locate and upload some video just to keep you abreast of what's going on with the fire situation here in Portugal, which I think is very important for us to do. Before we go into that, let me just make sure I'm quite badly prepared. This morning, I have to say, it's really hot on the Silver Coast this morning, very warm, muggy and humid. Temperatures got to 46.3 yesterday, apparently, in Luzão in central Portugal. And, of course, a pretty grim picture around the country. Just to give you a snapshot before we say hello to everybody and before we go into any depth, 2,600 firefighters battling 26 blazes. That was 14 hours ago. And there were, that many firefighters, 2,600, 800 vehicles and 30 aircraft at their disposal. I don't know how many they fly in the dark night sky, but that gives you an idea of what was going on yesterday evening around Portugal. I don't think I said hello properly this morning. So bon dia alegria, Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal show live stream and podcast. And clearly a little bit of a green screen to tweak as well. But anyway, let's crack on with it. I think I've frozen. Have I frozen up my screen now? Oh my goodness. It's all a little bit. I need to take a deep breath, don't I? I need Banana Slug's counsel here. Deep breaths, Carl. I was actually very disturbed by what I saw at some of the imagery last night. I haven't been watching Portuguese TV, and I did watch RTP and the news stream about the fires in Portugal, and also saw a video last night from somebody from our expat community in central Portugal, which I found quite disturbing. I'm going to share it with you, not to shock you, but to just really give you a sense of how serious this is and how kind of up close and personal it is getting for some people. Okay, before we do that, good morning then to Lee. Aradiel, Baddy's in as well. Good to see you yesterday, Baddy, at the meetup. Great meetup yesterday, and I got to meet. Well, actually, the one of the great high points, and there were a few yesterday. More high points than Rome or Lisbon. Actually, 7 hills of high points. One of them being Mrs. Duck. Brenda decided, after a little while, I think, of considering it, decided to jump on and talk to me about her experience of Portugal, moving to Lisbon on the live stream that we have now become habituated to doing from the meetup. And there's another meetup today in Portimão. Nuno will be there. Nuno was joining us as well. He was in Almansil yesterday, where there was a bit of a blaze. He has a report on insurance, funnily enough, but I'm sure he'll have something to say about what it was like in Almansil yesterday, where one of the outbreaks was yesterday. Where was I before I distracted myself? Yes, Mrs. Duck, Brenda. Fantastic interview conversation, which drew in a number of other people, including Pete, who created and who we have to thank for the whistling theme tune. He didn't write the theme tune, but he used it very brilliantly in the original intro and outro of the Good Morning Portugal show. Of course, we still use it as an outro to send you off on your way in the day, so you'll be familiar with the whistling. Doug said to me yesterday he was in the Algarve out and about, and somebody was whistling the theme tune, and he said it was a coincidence. I think they recognized him, and they decided to. The Gumpers, that's like the secret sign, isn't it? We don't have a handshake. We have a tune that we can whistle, and you can just put that signal out there and see if anybody responds. So you can be in a cafe and you can just go, and then if somebody on the other side of the restaurant comes back with a, you know you got a gumper nearby. Okay, you're probably never more than a few meters from a gumper here in Portugal, and maybe even around the world. Certainly in certain parts of America at the moment. Colorado, for example. Try whistling the Gumper tune over there, see what happens. Okay, so Pete Wilton Davies was there. We had the Yonkers there, Bob and Karen. So good to see you yesterday. Thanks for popping over. Came from central Portugal to escape the heat. And lots of other lovely people, too numerous to mention. Lots of regulars now, new people. People I didn't get a chance to say hello to. So please don't think me rude. If you're watching this and thinking, yeah, Carl Munson, all friendly on the screen and then doesn't even say hello in real life, it's not out of any ill will. It was partly because as soon as I got there, Pete Wilton Davies said, let's have a beer. Let's have another beer. Should we have another beer? And then another beer arrived when I was live streaming, and I'm not used to it. I'm out of practice, so I wasn't out of control. Although I'll let you be the judge of that if you watch the live stream. But it was very convivial and a little bit boozy, I have to say, because I'm out of practice. Anyway, Darren's also here. Tony, Baldilocks, Aragil, did we say hello already? Alan's in again, 3 days running from Spain, Cadiz. And of course, the regulars, Stephen. Oh, Nunu's in already. He's everywhere, that man, isn't he? Deagle, T-Duck, and the Banana Man. Yes, the Banana Slug James is here. Oh, and Gary Orgles and Owen, of course, whose video footage on our YouTube channel of the terrifying smoke cloud in Leiria from a couple of nights ago is over 3,500 views on YouTube. Extraordinary. People want to be kept informed of what's going on, and I think it's right that people see the scale of what's going on so they can offer the appropriate help. That's the situation as I see it at the moment, and we need to know what's going on. And we need to be prepared. I think that continues to be the order of the day. So I'll continue to do that myself. And God Squad tip of the day in from Coach Turner as well. So we'll have that too before we're joined at 9 o'clock on Move to Portugal Thursday by Ian and Fabrizio. Now, I've been calling Fabio, haven't I? Whichever way, he'll always be Fab to me. See what I did there? And they are from Project Lisboeta. They are buyer's agents. They help people move to Lisbon. They are advertisers in our business directory. And I've overlooked them up until recently when on a webinar, Ian was there giving a lot of very helpful advice. So if you want that sort of help and support in Lisbon, stay tuned around 9 o'clock and we'll hear their story of how they got to fall in love with Lisbon and how they're helping people now move to the city and to the country. And Nunu will be popping in as well around 9:30. But between now and then, let's get to say hello to a few of you, but not until until I've shared a little bit of footage with you. I've given you that update there then, and let you know that it was well into the 40s, over 45 in Luzão. This continues to be the scale of operation here in Portugal. 2,600 firefighters late into the evening battling 26 blazes. Literally the hot spots seem to be still around Leiria. In Faro yesterday, where there was a fire breaking out on a golf course there with some pretty shocking footage. Palmela as well, not far from Setúbal, where we have our friend Sarah. I think those are the main outbreaks. But of course, as I've told you before, fogos.pt, if you've not already got that, please keep an eye on that web page or even download the app for your phone, fogos.pt. Let me show you that now, and then we'll have a quick look at what's going on around the country from the point of view of making sure that you're prepared and knowing what's going on. And make sure you've got that grab bag ready, please. Should you need to be evacuated. That is what's happening. People are being evacuated from their homes around the country. So it's good to be prepared for that and not to waste time getting stuff together and waiting till the last minute. So please make sure you are prepared. And oh my goodness, what's going on here? Make sure you're prepared. You got your grab bag ready by the door and ready to roll. Okay, so the fogos.pt, other websites and facilities, resources have come to the fore as well in this time, but this remains, I think, a pretty good source of information and a basis for preparedness. And let's zoom in now and see what's going on. So there's still quite a big blaze up there in the Aveiro district, as we can see there. It would appear that the Leiria blazes that Owen did capture, or yes, he did. Yeah, we had two blazes, didn't we, on his horizon with the footage that he sent to us. That would be here, that particular incident there, and That is, oh, and close to Pombal as well. So we're hoping that Matty's okay. There's one aircraft in the air there with that one. Is this what was it called? Close to Leria anyway. That's the best reference I can give you right now because I can't remember the name of the town village where that major blaze was taking place a couple of nights ago. And then in the south, you can see there. Oh, that's the Palmela one there, which I think there's a sense that might be being overcome as we speak. 400 operatives there, 124 vehicles, and then down into the south, that outbreak yesterday, Al Mansil, close to where Nunu was yesterday morning, 358 operatives, 125 vehicles, and one aircraft there. So those are the main blazes. And the advice, the warning, thanks to Jacqueline Branco for being straight onto this, a great asset to us here on the Good Morning Portugal show in the Expats Portugal community. And I've lost the I had the Safe Communities Portugal guidance for this morning. I think I'm going to keep scrolling down my Facebook timeline where I first saw that. And I've got so many tabs open this morning trying to bring this information to you that everything's a little bit slow this morning, I have to say. So bear with me, and let me know. Are you very warm and humid where you are? We have our weather page as well, of course. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the weather page too this morning, and let me just see if I can do just one quick search to see if I can find Jacqueline Branco's share this morning. She pops up under a number of guises and in a number of different groups, and so it might not be that easy finding her, and I may have to come back to that in a little while. I can't find that now, sadly, but I will come back to the guidance that's being given by Safe Communities Portugal, and of course you can go there yourself. Safe Communities Portugal is a very important source of information. Okay, let me share with you the weather, and let's go through the weather. I guess you know what your weather's like, but just to give you a view of the whole of Portugal this morning. We haven't done this for a while, have we? We tend to look at the weather in the winter, don't we, when we're chasing the sun. And at the moment, I think we're keen to be protecting ourselves from its worst effects. Never satisfied, the human being. Anyway, here we go. Bringing it onto the screen for you now. This is the Expats Portugal weather in Portugal. Apologies to those who like it in Fahrenheit. I've only got that for Lisbon. You'll have to double it and add 30 if you want to. I'll help with that. But principally, Lisbon at the moment, it is 75 in the Fahrenheit, 24 in Lisbon, which seems quite cool, doesn't it? May well rise. Over the weekend, a high of 88 on Saturday is forecast, albeit somewhat cloudy this weekend in Porto. Again, the temperature's not looking so hot and warm right now, but I think it is going to rise. In Faro, a high today of 28, tomorrow 26, which doesn't seem to fit in with the expected or forecasted heat wave that people have been talking about. However, if you look at Coimbra, where light rain is forecast at the moment, and for me, I've got forecasts of rain here on the Silver Coast. The forecast later on today is for 44. So it's central Portugal that's really feeling it. And as we scroll down into the other districts, we can see, Beja, 42 high predicted today. Even Aveiro is getting up to 30 today, 41 in Braga, 43 in Castelo Branco, 43 in Évora, 44 in Santarém, 43 in Viseu. Okay, so do be careful out there. Central Portugal forecast as very hot today. And now I'm going to show you something. This is somebody who I know as a Facebook friend. You'll hear his voicing over the top of this. He's Dutch, and this is what happened to him yesterday afternoon.
Ik ga naar Alvaiazer moeten, want gevoeld de warmte van het, je moet eens zien. Het is zo dichtbij. Ja, ik ga naar Alvaiazer.
Now, all I was able to make out there is Alvaiazer. I did make sure he was okay. So he was hot-footing it. Sorry, pardon that pun. That's not right, is it? But he was making his way away from his. Glad to be alive, basically, and fearing that his house was going up in flames there. That was Jan, and he is okay. Reached out to him, and I think it's important we do that for everybody in this community right now, just to make sure we're all accounted for. If you've got any concerns about anybody, do reach out. If you don't know how to get in touch with them, use this as a meeting point in the mornings, just to check in and make sure everybody is okay. But that really brought an awareness of this situation to a new level for me. What was going on for Jan there over in that Alvaiazara area. I'm still trying to find the guidance from Safe Communities Portugal. Maybe someone else has found that this morning and can give me a link to the guidance as given by the government for this morning. It's if you're listening, Jacqueline, I know you've got the link to this because I was reading it. I was reading what you'd posted earlier on, and I found it now. Silver Coast Our Home is the group. This is where I'm reading from. So let me share this with you now. Important stuff, okay? What we have from Silver Coast Our Home and a report from Safe Communities Portugal is that today, Thursday, the 14th of July, 2022, extreme risk of rural fires continues. Actually, I'll put the link to it as well so that you can see what's going on into the chat. The rural fire risk is at extreme, very high today throughout 90% of the mainland. The risk is being influenced by forecasts of exceptionally low relative humidity. It doesn't feel like that at the moment anyway. Very high temperatures and moderate winds. So that combination of low relative humidity, very high temperatures and moderate winds is causing the problem, and having 90% of the mainland on an extreme or very high risk. The Algarve, centre and northeast are all at maximum fire risk, and Alentejo are at very high risk. Now's not the time, folks, to go touring about in Portugal. Now's the time is to stay put and stay prepared, I would say. We have a rural fire hazard. If you follow this link, you'll see the maps. The south of the mainland is at maximum, an area slightly less than yesterday. The centre is very high, and northeast very high at maximum. Alentejo very high, and Santarém area high. Silver Coast maximum as well. The Rural Fire Hazard Index comprises 6 indices that quantify the effects of fuel, moisture, and wind on fire behavior, including its intensity and speed. These conditions ultimately affect the difficulty in fighting a fire once a fire gets hold. The wind stays moderate, gusting strong in the Algarve, and this will exacerbate any fires. As you'd have seen, if you saw the footage yesterday in Almansil, down in the Algarve, you'll see how the wind just had pine trees and conifers bursting into flames. The situation of contingency measures, therefore, within the scope of the declaration of the contingency, that's where we're at. We're in a state of contingency at the moment. Provided for in the law of civil protection basis, the following exceptional measures are in place. So this is what you need to know. Number 1, prohibition of access, movement and permanence inside the forest spaces previously defined in the Municipal Forest Defence Against Fire Plan. That's a bit of a mouthful, but basically you need to stay off the forest paths, the rural accesses and other accesses that cross them, except for residents and workers at the moment. So hiking is not a good idea at the moment, and a walk in the countryside, okay? Number 2, prohibition of extensive burning. This should go without saying, but, you know, it is possible to forget, isn't it? You want to tidy up your garden, but no burning, folks, and no burning of cut or piled waste. This is important too. Prohibition, number 3, of work in the forest areas using any kinds of machinery, with the exception of those associated with rural firefighting situations. And then number 4, prohibition of works in rural areas using blades or metal discs, chains, lawnmowers, shredders, and machines with blades or front shovels. This is to stop a spark causing a blaze, of course. So don't, give it a rest for the moment. No garden works that could possibly spark a fire. And number 5, finally, total prohibition on the use of fireworks. Again, people have been letting off fireworks in the last week, and now is not the time for that, or other pyrotechnic items, regardless of their form of combustion. I guess those floating, what are they called? Those like a paper bag with a candle in it, basically, which is asking for trouble, that are launched into the night sky. Do not do that at the moment. As well as suspension of the permits issued. Disobedience on these measures is a crime. Of course it is. Right now. Okay, so that's what you need to do. Let me put that in, just in case you need that. I will put that in the chat as well. And that also points to, we have the Civil Protection website. I'll put these in so you've got other reference points. And this is what Nunu will be talking about as well when he joins us at 9:30. The scouts, he's part of the scouting movement, and the scouts are in that hierarchy of civil protection organizations, along with the GNR and the firefighters, bomberos, and the scouting movement here in Portugal playing an important part in that. So I've got the civil protection and also the IPMA, which I refer to from time to time, don't I? The IPMA website, which is also going into the chat now. There's some good resources for you there if you want to keep on top of the situation. Okay, let's leave that there for the time being. Apart from anyone wanting to check in, find out how anyone's doing in our community, just to make sure everybody's safe and to answer any questions if you are unclear about anything. Let us now then, so that I can regroup and regather myself, go to a God Squad tip of the day. Okay, still on tour in France, and including us in his thoughts for top athletes, says Coach Turner. Who'll be with us tomorrow with Phil? Those two gentlemen will be with us tomorrow. It's a Phil and Ian day tomorrow. For top athletes, rest is as important as training. That applies just as much to those of us living a more sedate life. A siesta when it's hot makes a lot of sense. Enjoy. Got to admit that yesterday after the meetup, even at the meetup, we saw a blaze in Salio de Porto. The bomberos were all over it, and it was out within minutes. Amazing job you're doing, and keep taking those drinks and any items that they need, please, to your local bomberos center. Yeah, a few beers at the meetup yesterday, back in the beer business, and I did have a little siesta when I got home before I did an evening's work, which included actually some lovely produce. Can I show you my dinner? From last night. I know it's sublime and ridiculous here, isn't it, on on this show? I had the most beautiful dinner last night, having got back from a hard afternoon of networking. I got to show you this because I've got some beautiful fish from the local supermarket. Fish, of course, we love here in Portugal. Cooking fish, cooking fresh fish, and accompanied by produce from the garden. Look at this plate, if I can get my act together and bring it to you. Linguado, I think, this flatfish. I don't often cook flatfish, but I did this in the pan with some butter and some olive oil and some seasoning. There is my flatfish, which was lovingly prepared. It's Intermarché San Martino de Porto. It's not somewhere to go if you're in a hurry at the moment. And especially there is a huge volume of people visiting the town, of course. So the checkouts are a little bit more congested than they might be. And then if you order fish, it is lovingly prepared, gutted by the wonderful staff at Intermarché. So you can see my flat fish on the left there. Fabrizio and Ian have arrived in the green room thinking, what is going on here? I thought we were on a Good Morning Portugal show, not a cooking program. And then everything else on that plate. The potatoes came from the garden. The rocket came from the garden. The basil and the tomatoes and basil came from the garden. And it was a delight to prepare that. And the thing about those potatoes is they grew. Many of them grew from peelings that were just casually tossed into the compost. That's how fertile the growing conditions are. Even in our backyard, where we've made raised beds and put compost in them, it's like a tiled backyard. We've made raised beds and then managed to produce a meal of that kind from the back garden. Isn't that amazing? Even if I say so myself. So I really enjoyed that. Yes, Fabrizio and Ian joining us very soon from Project Lisboeta. Just time at the moment then. Oh, we got dad jokes, which is great this morning. Thank you, T-Duck, for that. And thank you for your amazing job yesterday at the meetup. Bon dia from James then. Feliz quinta a todos, como tem passado. Oh, I found a list, 10 ways to say hi, how are you doing in Portuguese last night, which is very useful. Will Rogers quote of the day from Banana Slug James. You know horses are smarter than people. You never heard of a horse going broke betting on people. Yes, that's so true, Will Rogers. Bon dia from Owen and from T-Duck as well. Bon dia, Alegria Gumpers. Deep thought of the day from T-Duck. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. Very good, Brian Herbert. And you could apply that, couldn't you, to this situation, the fire situation in Portugal. But I'm not going to get into the politics of it right now. I'm sure we will in the weeks to come. Now is not the time for that. But it would appear we're struggling to learn the lessons that we might have done from 5 years ago. Anyway, as I say, now is not the time. We also have from T-Ducks and Portuguese sayings. Actually, I'll save those. They're great to talk through with somebody who's Portuguese, and that'll be Nuno a little bit later on. Dad jokes to come as well. I will also save those because I know Nuno as a dad and scoutmaster will like that material too. Gary Orgles is here. TikTok, it's Thursday o'clock. Set your watches for tonight's meeting, Gumpers. Yes, we have a buyer's agent sandwich this morning. The first bit of bread will be Fabrizio and Ian. I hope they don't mind me describing them as part of a buyer's agent sandwich. And then Savika Anna this evening. That's a really, I have a nice warm feeling in my belly thinking I'm being sandwiched by buyer's agents today. A bit hot for that sort of thing, but anyway, it's a toasted buyer's agent sandwich. And to be banana sluggish is the highest compliment one can bestow on another in the Redwood Forest. There you go. I think that's being offered out as well this morning. Being banana sluggish. Nunu's here, and we'll be back on your screen again around 9:30. Bon dia from Stephen Deagle, who was catching fish himself. All very well, me going to the supermarket. This guy was catching mackerel yesterday, Northern Ireland. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers from a lovely North Antrim coast. Great day sea fishing with family yesterday. Then Minister of Home Affairs, barbecue 23 mackerel from the sea to the plate in 1 hour. There you go. That's some low food miles right there. And delighted to see that some fires are under control overnight. Yeah, touch and go. But yes, the Bomberos continuing to do an amazing job. Bon dia, Alegria from Barry. Good to see you yesterday. Were the mackerel blessed? Were they holy mackerel? Oh dear. Forgot the dad joke warning there. Sorry about that, everybody. Who will attend the Portimao meetup today? Well, Nuno will be there. Let us know if you're going along to that. Second Thursday of the month, the Portimao meetup. Holy mackerel. Everyone seems to be on top form this morning. I have a whiskey tasting night at 7 p.m. 4 Irish bands, 1 PT. Oh, Irish brands. Can you imagine having a whiskey tasting and there are 4 Irish bands there to get you in the mood? 4 Irish brands, 1 PT Smoky, which I like, not sure on the other 3. Well, have fun. Photos, please, of that whiskey tasting. There is a city in Texas called San Saba. If you mix Spanish and Japanese, it can be translated as holy mackerel. San Saba there. Good morning, people from Lee, from Chris, and from Darren. Morning, Gumpers. Just found out Mr. and Mrs. Adventure are looking for properties in Portugal, so recommended they come over here and join up. Absolutely right. Pointed at lots of videos. Mr. and Mrs. Adventure, I don't know about them. Is that another YouTuber sensation whose attention has been grabbed by Portugal now? Which we'll talk to Fabrizio and Ian in just a moment about that. It's not stopping anytime soon, is it, this interest in Portugal? Hola bon dia, Faja de dia, Intuition by Lynx. Loved that tune as a schoolboy, I have to say. That's going back. And hola de El Puerto Cádiz, España this morning from Alan. Quick hello from Aradil Pinto, and we'll come back to your lovely greetings. We will. Good morning, Nuno and James. You see, there's one right there. And we'll bring onto the screen right now from Project Lisboeta, Fabrizio and Ian. Good morning to you both. How are you?
Bon dia. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Yeah, a little concerned, a little bit preoccupied with the terrible fire situation in Portugal, but onwards, we have to cover and look at all aspects of life here in Portugal because it is an amazing country, notwithstanding the situation, which of course is why you're here. You look to be in a beautiful Lisboeta apartment yourself. That's very, very tastefully done, gentlemen. Looks lovely there. I take it you are talking from Lisbon this morning and not Birmingham with a green screen.
Yeah. No.
So tell us about yourselves. What is Project Lisboeta?
We are hello everybody. Bom dia a todos. My name is Fabrizio. We are a company by nature 3-year property scouts. We specialize in the area of Lisbon. So what we do, we deal with clients' briefs to find new apartments in Lisbon, and we shortlist them, submit to them, go with them to do the viewings. We do negotiations. We just then go again with more properties, and then more negotiation, and then we close the deal. And hopefully, that's what we help people to do, to facilitate the transition from where they originally moving from, and to move to Lisbon, to the area of Lisbon.
Well, it'd be lovely to find out the sort of people you help and where they do come from. But I want to know more about the pair of you. You must have at some point fallen in love with Lisbon yourselves. What's your backstory for being in the capital of Portugal?
Well, it's a funny backstory actually, because we came here first in 2003. We did a bit of a trip through Europe, and we passed through Lisbon, and we hated it. It was really strange. We came through, it was very quiet. There was not many places open. It was really dark. And it was kind of, is this a capital city? Because this feels like, a little urban place in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't feel like a capital city. Yeah. And we left it there. We didn't really think very much about it. We traveled to Portugal again one more time, but we obviously didn't pass through Lisbon. And then in 2012, we moved across London into Stockwell, which is also known as Little Portugal. And
yes,
we came
of course. Yes. Yeah.
And literally, we were just off the South Lambeth Road, which, if anybody knows it, nearly all the shops there, if you want to find a Portuguese shop, a Portuguese restaurant, a Portuguese everything, Portuguese coffee, you name it, you'll find it there.
Yes.
And of course, it was around that same time that the buzz of Lisbon started coming back on the scene. Lots of people were saying, "Oh, we should visit Lisbon. That's such a great place." And we were kind of, "What? We went to that place and we didn't."
You got to be kidding! Terrible.
You're like, we must have missed something somewhere.
Yes.
And so we decided we were going to come to Portugal again. I think we decided to have a trip around Alentejo. And of course, we stopped off in Lisbon. We thought we'll have a couple of days looking at it. And the transformation, which was probably 10 years on, was just like chalk and cheese. It was couldn't be any different to what we imagined. It was very lively. It was very bright, vibrant. There was restaurants opened up everywhere. Completely different place. And it was hard to think that somewhere transformed itself so much, because I remember back in 2003, we walked up from the centre into Barrio Alto, by Carmo, by the Elevador Santa Justa. And there, it was dark. There's nobody around. The streets are empty now, which it's got the whole thing going on about it. And so it was a great buzz. And that timing also coincided with me thinking that famous word, what happens when you retire, sort of thing. I got to that age where you have all these people saying to you, you're going to retire soon, and what you have to think about it, even though it's 20 years, probably, but...
Yeah, I'm just thinking,
you get all the feedback from people saying, "Oh, you're not any younger.
You're not getting any younger. You might need to start thinking about your pension and all that."
Exactly.
I don't get that. No, I don't get that. No,
good. I'm so glad. I refuse to hear that.
Yes, exactly.
But they were saying it. These people, whoever they are, shame on you.
Well, it's the pension companies, isn't it? It's not to get you all hyped up for the fact.
Yes, that's true. Yes, those were the vested interests. Yeah.
Exactly. And so we both talk, because Fabrizio had lived in London for about 20 years by that point. I lived in London for nearly 30 years. And we were one thing is we probably wouldn't carry on living in London. We were finding it getting more and more expensive.
Yeah.
And what should we do? Should we move somewhere else? And then we compiled this list of different places that we started thinking about going that we might like to go to. And completely unexpectedly, obviously from our first experience, the one that slowly made its way up the list and came out at the top was Lisbon.
Yeah.
It kind of ticked all the right boxes. Italy was out of the question, because Fabrizio has always said you will never move back to Italy. So that was a big cross. I'm sorry, Italy, but that put a big cross through.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then we've done a few other bits. We thought of the obvious candidates like Berlin, but then it's very cold in the winter, so that one got it. There's all these little things. When you go through a list, you slowly have pluses and minuses on each one of them.
Yes. Let me just ask you then. So, who was on the list? You've got Lisbon is back on after your first reaction. Berlin is a contender. Not Italy, not London. Who else? Who else was on there?
Yeah, well, we thought a bit about, I think, kind of a couple of places in France first of all, and then we sort of removed those. We decided, Paris was, it's a great place, but it's the same as London. It has the same problems, very expensive, all the ordinary things. So, if you're thinking about cutting down on costs, then no.
Yeah.
A few places in Spain, the sort of Barcelona or Madrid. But Barcelona was getting that, really sort of so packed with people, and everybody saying it's just an awful place to live,
Yes.
excessive tourism, that kind of thing. That unfortunately that one fell by the wayside, and so yeah, I mean there were not that many places, to be honest, when we put it on the list.
We were quite reluctantly thinking of a location that it was not so urban as London is, because it would be very hard for us to live in a context there which is quite remote or unfamiliar, I suppose. What we used to is the multiculturalism of the city, and Lisbon somehow felt that it was a very good compromise because it's very close to a lot of things which are natural attractions. It's close to the beach. It does have a very multicultural international feel to it. It's a smaller city compared to London, but it's got a very big personality and it's looking outward towards, being very open and very, very hybrid, let's say. So that's what probably drove us a bit more.
I love that description, Fabrizio. The big personality. It's because it's. I mean, I heard this mentioned yesterday. I was a podcast I was listening to, and a guy who is part of Portuguese Idol. He works in at the TV station SIC. I can't remember his name, but very interesting character, Portuguese man, and saying how small Lisbon is. And it punches way above its weight, doesn't it, in terms of personality and offering. I want, if I may, just take you back a bit to your first impressions. First, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression, etc., and all those sort of cliches, and first impressions count. Do you think when you first came, it's part of that mysterious maiden problem? This is one of my theories about Portugal in general. Is a lot of what we love is going on. We just don't know where to find it, and it's not as well. It has a big personality, Lisbon, doesn't it? And Portugal has an incredible personality or a soul, but it's not always obvious, is it? In the same way as other cities. So was that part of the problem? You just didn't find what you were looking for because it was well hidden.
We have a lot of Portuguese friends, and a lot of them, they are Lisboetas. That's people that were born or somehow lived in Lisbon for a very, very long time. And for what they experiences, we gained from their experiences. There was a time where a lot of people that were living in Lisbon abandoned the city center, which was in need, full of property in need of incredible repairs, and business moved out of the city center to move to the outskirts of the city to better properties, better conditions of like. So the center, the Baixas, the Chiado, all the areas were for many years completely unloved and deserted. So I guess it came from us, our impression of a place, for sure. But also, I believe it was a dynamic that it was in place in the city at that time. That it was unlived. It wasn't ugly. It was just not alive. We remember the center of town, which is now full of light and sound and people and music and talking, which was completely. Street lights went on and shops were closed and there were not restaurants and no one on the streets. We were probably the only one wandering around. So I suppose the city was amazing, but it reminded us of Havana or one of those, which is just got this glorious past, but it was crumbling at the time because he lost the interest of his own people, I suppose.
Incredible.
And it's always been, and it's very true what you say. Portugal is an incredible place made of incredible, generous people, but you have to get that. I mean, you have to find somehow the key to get into this exchange of vibes, which they assume that this, and it doesn't take much, but it takes that sort of readjustment in a frame of mind, and then you will get everything. You will get a lot of time from people. You will get a lot of out of the city, but you have to sort of switch somewhere. And and yeah, gear up for that sort of things, and suddenly the Portuguese mentality and social environment will suddenly open.
That's right.
And
That's why I use the mysterious maiden analogy. You know,
that's it. That's it.
almost kind of hooded and
That's it.
revealing herself a little bit, and you have to work a little bit to
Yeah.
have that happen.
Yeah.
And
And
not
also-
not everybody's prepared to do that work, are they? And
No.
that, Fabrizio, if I may say so, Italy's a little bit different. Italy's all
Yes.
out there, isn't it? When you go to Rome or to Florence, it's out there. You know what you're dealing with.
Sure.
And I've got to ask you why
Yeah.
there was a very firm a refusal on going to Italy. Why is that?
Well, I come from Rome.
Yeah.
And Rome is a very beautiful city, yes, for sure. My family's there. I go for holiday, that's for sure. You know, but then I believe my formation as an adult. I moved away from Rome when I was 20.
Okay.
And I'm not more. So I believe my formation as an adult was in London, and I got accustomed to many things that I did no longer encounter in Italy as a human being, as you know. So I don't go into details, but Rome is also compared to Lisbon, is a very aggressive city.
Right.
It's true Italy is all out there, but isn't, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more friendly and warm in places that are a little bit less urban and people is a little bit less stressed. So no, it's fine. I'll keep it as it is. I go on holiday. I get spoon fed by my mom and dad, and it's great. It is great, but I don't have to deal with politics. I don't have to deal with.
Actually, he'll tell you the one thing here which shocked me. He said the bureaucracy is even worse than Portugal. So there you go.
There you go, everybody.
Well, this is a safe place. Yeah.
It could be worse. It could be worse.
Here's a walk in the park.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean about Italian politics. It all seems very sedate and serene to me. But anyway, Lisbon has your heart now for sure. So much that Lisbon got picked. And when did you move in? When did you establish your lives here?
Well, the first one we actually just going to buy somewhere here first off, rent it out probably, and then eventually when we retire, those famous 3 words, have that place to move over here. And all that process always gets complicated. You know, it is, you start to look at all these different things that you have to do. You're trying to get remortgages and you're trying to get money and you're trying to find somewhere.
Yes.
And that not being here as well was difficult. That was our first thing of trying to find somewhere initially just to buy, to have as a rental. We just, that was our first one. It's really hard compared with how we find the UK. We couldn't find places here. We couldn't find places that could show us at the right time. We came a couple of scouting trips and virtually saw nothing just because things weren't available, agents weren't available. Agents only spoke Portuguese. At that point, our communication was like zero. And then there was this strange morning when I woke up and I said, "But sorry, I work in a company now where I can work anywhere because I wasn't working in an office. I was working for a startup company. Fabrizio likewise was doing interior design, that kind of thing, but also he had some space planning ones, which was planning for large chains of stores where you would plan how all their changes could take place. And part of that actually, that because it was kind of contract work. I mean, it is like once every 6 months they do these change rounds. It would be he'd often work from home just because it's like there you go for a month, just go and reorganize 50 stores based on our new theme, and off you go. And so there was that moment when I said, well, why are we waiting for all this, when we retire? Why don't we just move everything forward? We're young, we're fit, we're healthy, we probably have less constraints on things as we do. Why don't we do it now? Why are we actually staying in London now, planning this big thing in the future? Let's go for it. And so that was the big change that in 2018, we stuck the house on the market. And September 2018, we packed up everything. We had nowhere to move to other than an Airbnb. And yeah, we just packed everything up, stuck it all in storage, sold our place in London, and arrived here.
Incredible. I thought you were going to say, and we started planning where the stair lift was going to go immediately. No, we're not. We're not. And you didn't have to pack a Zimmer frame. One less thing to pack.
Exactly.
See, I love it. I do love it when a plan comes forward, and you must be hearing this from people as well. You know, there were longer time scales for people, weren't there? Like 2 or 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, people's time scales were like, oh yeah, maybe I'll retire one day in Europe or in Portugal. And since the thinking's changed about that, isn't it? And are you getting calls? People like, okay, we want to do it now. We're not going to mess about anymore. Find us somewhere in Lisbon, please. We're thinking of moving straight away.
Exactly.
Are you seeing that as well?
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that, and I don't know why. As you mentioned the pandemic, and probably this is got a lot to do with it.
Yeah,
because unprecedentedly, we had to be within our own domestic environment without any choice, I believe. So a lot of people are now thinking of what your domestic environment is and where it is and the shape and the condition of it. So I believe that also moved people to say, oh, you know, I can now live in this 1-bedroom flat in London, and I can possibly just move to a place with an outdoor space and go down the beach if I want to when I got 10 minutes. I think
the pandemic as well was a big break of people's regimes, because you know it is, you kind of say, oh yes, you know, every Wednesday I go to the pub with some friends and we do this, and every Thursday I do this. You know, there's loads of happening to things. I guess maybe that break kind of made people think, oh, but what else do I do outside of that? Or you know,
and also, what is life really about? I mean, there were big questions being asked then, weren't there?
And also, a lot of our clients, they are from North America, and the gun situation and the safety is one of the main issues. And I must say London is a city that we knew too. So we are quite streetwise. No, I mean, we were not living in Chelsea, but it was Stockwell and Vauxhall and Brixton. We lived.
I used to do a school run. I know exactly what you mean. I know. Exactly
so we learn how to embrace our environment, but also to look behind our back when we had to. And safety, the sense of safety, living even in a big city like Lisbon, came, just suddenly increased 200 times. So I believe also the sense of being safe, being within our cultural context there, if you do feel unwell on the street, someone will stop and ask you how you're doing. So I believe also is that.
I think you're right. And I think you're part of those people who will go up to people now. You are Lisboetas, aren't you? You're the Alfacinas, the lettuce eaters, the Lisboetas. And you're part of that scene now, I think, where you're offering the hospitality back that first of all you didn't experience, then you fell in love with, and now you're part of this amazing buzz that is life in Lisbon. We've got a few comments coming in. Before we find out a little bit more about how you operate, Ian and Fabrizio, welcome to the show from Moaz. I'm so happy that you are Carl's guests from Moaz. Where are you at the moment, Moaz? Lisbon is for Lisboners like me, our big, small village, says Joao F., who's part of our community here. We love it, our little neighborhoods. In that sense, one can say Lisbon is made of a number of small villages built next to each other.
It's very true. Very true.
Yeah, and each one of those villages has its own charm and personality. And again, this goes back to, doesn't it, taking time to get to know somewhere.
Yeah, and also we, to add to what João is saying, we live very close to the Mercado de Arroios.
Okay.
Which reminds us, we felt at home. I mean, obviously from estate agents, it was the last place they will ever think about showing us. That's also one thing about what we do, and it's the place of multiculturalism. It's a place that is developing a lot. There's a lot of things moving in the area. There's a lot of things opening. It was a dynamic of gentrification. It's a dynamic of people taking businesses there where the local people or mix of that taking businesses there were no longer alive and developing into a new identity. So it reminded us of the place in London where we came from, and we felt like home. So it's true what Joao was saying. It is a lot of different villages, all close to each other, all within the same identity, and it's a part of this incredible city.
So going to little Portugal in Stockwell was like a primer or the warm up for you then, in a way.
Was. It was the cardio.
Training, like a Portugal boot camp.
Yeah, it was the cardio session. Yeah.
Get the blood pumping about Portugal.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so people are probably looking at the screen and they're thinking to themselves, yeah, it's nice seeing Carl's blue sky and the Barcelos cockerel there, but look at that apartment behind Ian and I want one like that. So if somebody says, yes, I want to live it, I love what they're saying, I want to go live in Lisbon, how do you help people? How do people engage with you?
Well, we first of all do a chat with people and we try and find out where they're coming from, what their ideas are.
Yeah.
And then interesting, going back to what Joao said as well, a lot of people come with this misconception of, oh, we don't want to find this downtown apartment in, sort of this, this whatever downtown is here, which part of it, some of those things don't apply to Lisbon. So it's kind of, remove some of those concepts. Let us know what you really want to do. And then as part of that conversation as well, we try and find out timescales, budgets, whereabouts they are in the process. And add up all of those things, and then again come back with a few discussions and see what people are ready for. So we kind of just give people a few ideas as well, because we all arrive somewhere these grand ideas of everything we want to do, and of course sometimes you have to try and just scale it back a bit and say, okay, but looking at all your factors now, have you thought about this? Is that really what you want, or can you get away without that? So that's part of our initial process of talking to people.
Well,
and getting comfortable with what they might. Exactly.
Yeah, that's really important, isn't it? Because sometimes, like you say, just the phrase downtown, you can't necessarily bring your cultural assumptions, can you? So it's quite important to have a lengthy discussion about going back to basics, talk about what your needs are, rather than the shorthand of the not just how it looks, but what's motivated. Motivations, people's needs and motivations. So
we collaborate with this incredible woman that is a psychologist, and we collaborate with this. It's an intercultural psychologist, and she does have her programs comes with a subscription to our services. And what is an approach, a step-by-step guide and training course about moving somewhere. And she's got an incredible phrase that she says, don't think about where you're moving to, but do assess everything of what you're moving for.
What you're moving for, yes, your motivation, absolutely, yeah.
And that's what we do. I mean, after our initial chat or consultation, we then shortlist few properties that might fit the brief of our clients, and then we submit to them. A lot of our clients, this initial consultation, the client is not physically here. 85% of the time, and this process is both for buying, for renting, and then we submit few things for the attention, and then we can preview properties for them. We readjust the brief, we add things out, we can send videos, and then we arrange a diary of a viewing diary, let's say, when they are physically here in Lisbon, and then if they made the choice, we can then follow up until the negotiation, closing of the contracts, and we help them set up their bills and then all that jazz.
I've got a guess that this is all the stuff you wished you'd had when you were moving to Lisbon.
That's the main drive behind our business, really.
Yes, right, okay.
We learn from experience.
And you're sharing that with other people now. The big question for so many people at the moment, wanting a D7, is getting the 12-month lease. How's that looking in Lisbon at the moment?
Well, it's a very hot market.
Yes.
In terms of rentals. And there's a lot of inquiry, obviously, that we have about the sort of visa process. Some month, July and August seems to be the most crowded in terms of demand rather than offer, probably because the summer month don't help. But yes, it's a big part of what we do. I mean, it's a lot of businesses, a lot of the rental contract that we do, which are 1 year contract minimum. For they are usually connected to D7 visa applications processes.
I think a lot of that is setting expectations around that as well, because you do have people saying, "Oh, I just want to get somewhere for 3 months, and when I get it, then I'll cancel it and I'll do this." And it's trying to get into, first of all, through the understanding of what are you rushing into.
Yes, indeed.
You come in and you think after 3 months I'll have found everything I want, and that's probably not going to be the case anyway.
Very
but
unlikely.
secondly, much of that negotiation as well is that there is somewhere cast in stone. I think it's been chiseled on, like, if you have an apartment, you need 3 months worth of pay slips, and you need, and you need this, and you need that, and you need a Theodore if you don't pay. And it's breaking down that mentality as well, because obviously in the rental markets, yes, some business through estate agents, but a lot of it is private individuals, and they're Portuguese used to renting to Portuguese.
Yes.
And so it's kind of, how can you overcome those constrictions, those restrictions that you're putting onto it? So, because if you walk in blindly, people just say, "I'm not going to rent that to you because, you don't tick any of the boxes that have been cast in stone, and therefore, not interested in you." But
Yes.
there's a bit of negotiation around that, and getting and saying, well, these people can pay a bit upfront, they can pay a bigger, you know what I mean? They can pay other things in order to get over that.
And that's why you need the help on this side, isn't it? That's why you need the buyer's agent. Yeah.
Exactly.
And Project Lisboeta, then you can find Ian and Fabrizio in our business director. I'm sure we're going to see more of them. Maybe we'll have a monthly report from Lisbon. It'll be lovely to talk to you again at some point. Thank you for telling your story. We could finish perhaps with a checklist here. Nom de plume, a mysterious nom de plume here, is moving for new friends. So that's going to be all right, isn't it? Making new friends it might not be an instant thing, but it will happen. It's a very friendly city. Touchy-feely Portuguese. Do you get that in Lisbon?
Touchy-feely,
not Rome, is it? It's not
as Italians, we are far more touchy-feely.
Yeah, I noticed. But it's all relative, Fabrizio. Ian and I are British. Now, by comparison, the Portuguese are very touchy-feely, aren't they? They're not Roman touchy-feely, but compared to us Brits, Portuguese, I would say, are probably in the middle there, aren't they? On the touchy-feely spectrum.
Exactly.
Right, okay. Architecture. Are we going to get that for nom de plume in Lisbon?
You will.
You will, and it will be the most. Will change with the color of the sun and the time of the day, sometimes you just look out and everything around 7 o'clock everything looks pink, and it's got that is one of the main points. Probably come from my background, but sometimes I just sit somewhere and look around, and architecture is one of the things that just.
I think we're doing well so far. The new friends, touchy-feely, and architecture. Food's terrible, isn't it, in Portugal?
Yeah. We barely eat.
So you're all right there, nom de plume. We're joking.
Just
food.
Dust and ashes from the smokes.
That's right. At the moment, everything's smoked.
Food is great.
The food is great. And I think you've got a waterfront there in Lisbon, haven't you? And beaches as well.
There is, but certainly if you cross over the bridge, if you manage to get over it
to the south side, that's right. Get a ferry across.
Are incredible. It's quite surprising. In fact, that was the first thing. I mean, when we came, we kind of saw, the Carcavelos or Cascais, which many of which have smaller beaches there. But then when you cross the river, you get these long, massive stretches of
uninterrupted, long
all the way down to Comporta and Costa de Caparica, Fonte de Telha.
Exactly.
You can get a bus over there. So we've ticked all those boxes. We've got friends, we've got touchy-feely, we've got architecture, food, and ocean. A titio. Now, is that an Italian reference? I don't know what that is, nom de plume. What are you talking about? A titio coming into the picture would be icing on the cake. Yeah. I'm not sure we can guarantee that because we don't even know what it is. But maybe, yes, poish. It's a... Okay, we'll go with a poish for now. We'll leave a poish hanging there in the air. Nom de plume. I think we did pretty well on that checklist. And it's been fantastic talking to you both. Look at this, though.
Wonderful to talk to you.
What about Porto? go wash your mouth out with Northern Portuguese soap. We are not talking about Porto this morning, honestly. What are people like?
Porto is amazing. So if we can wrap it up with one word, Porto is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been amazing talking to you both. Will you come back?
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, find these guys in our business directory as Project Lisboeta. Have a lovely day there. Stay safe, of course. Be well, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon. Ciao, ciao.
we will for sure.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Carl.
We're going to rave out of here. We've got a little bit of an advert for Gilda here, but it just feels like we should have a little bit of a rave together. You experienced Portugal and Lisbon as kind of quiet. It has changed a lot since then. So I think what we're going to do is go out with a bit of a rave, because somebody was talking about what the requirements are for the D7. Tune in on Monday for that. Let's rave away from Ian and Fabrizio now and give you a little bit of a reminder of what happens on a Monday morning. Take care, fellas. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao. There you go. How lovely to talk to Ian and Fabrizio of Project Lisboeta this morning. And we're going to go from the capital now down to the south. On the spot report from Nuno Mendes from Winsurance. How you doing, Nuno?
Good morning. Today, more peaceful morning.
Say that again. Sorry, but we missed that.
Today, a more peaceful morning.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Yesterday morning for you, you were smelling the smoke. You were very close to the blaze that was happening at that golf club, right? And down there in Faro.
Yes. I'm in a resort where I came on vacation every year in Quinta do Lago, and just stay in the middle of both fires.
Really?
So yes. And I believe that the houses, maybe 50 meters from where I am, because of the smoke, people need to leave their houses, I believe. But everyone was calm and okay. It's true that no one was in the pool, in the community pool, but a part of that, everyone was calm here.
Yes, good. Okay, so everyone stayed calm and safe, but it must have been a bit terrifying. You were there. You were on your holiday. Actually, you are on holiday. You've been on the show twice this week already, and you are on holiday. Is that right?
Well, I'm just working from a different location.
What kind of holiday is that? But thank you for you mentioned to me, I think late last night, because we were both working away late last night, and you'd had a conversation with somebody. You got a bit of an update on some insurance features for people after some conversation with expats. You're gonna have to go to the Portimao meetup. Also, whilst on holiday, you're incredible. But what was this you wanted to talk about this morning from a conversation you had with an expat yesterday?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
You got in touch because you said you'd had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and
yes.
Some
people, Portuguese and non-Portuguese, actually contacting us yesterday because of their property insurance. We know that usually through when mortgage are involved or not, the banks just propose a normal property insurance. But is the difference between having a paper or being protected? Yes, because there are actually one funny conversation with someone that has a wonderful property near Santarém. She knows and she's aware that the insurance that she has with Millennium BCP just don't give her the proper protection. And I don't know if it was due all the fire and the problematic situation that you are nowadays living in Portugal with fire, but
Yes.
she asked yesterday. She just asked me to go forward, even though in this moment she have two insurances for the same thing, but it's not the same. She preferred that rather than having a problem and they just don't have the money to reconstruct the house. So yes, there are some coverages, and this is why from one side of the insurance, I don't like the business of insurance, and I don't see the insurance as a business. But we can talk about this after. Because sometimes insurers use the same name for a coverage that provide different protection, and people just think that they have something, and when they need, they discover that actually they don't have it.
Okay, so to give us an example of that, then, where I mean, the thing for expats and people who are not speaking the language, Nuno, is that they want to get something to feel like they're covered. So they will probably get the first thing that helps them feel like they're covered. And what you appear to be saying is, because it's called that, when you go into, the devil is in the detail. When you look, it might not be exactly what you think. Is that the problem you're articulating here?
Yes. For example, there are for me a problematic cover or damage that is related with aesthetical damages.
Okay.
For example, I have my house with wood in the floor, and just a small part of the floor damaged due to a fire, whatever. So the insurer will repair what was damaged. But the problem is that I stay with different floors. Why I need to spend for my pocket to change all the floor to stay with the same appearance? Okay.
Yes.
And this is the cover of aesthetical damages. Usually this could be covered because it's an optional cover. This could be covered, but at a very low value, like 2,000 euros or 3,000 euros. And if an exhaustion system of my kitchen damages just one piece of the kitchen furniture, and that furniture is no longer produced, the choose is stay with two different furnitures in the kitchen, or paying from my pocket the change of all the kitchen. And this is the aesthetical.
Yes.
It's an aesthetical damage, even if it's due to a fire. Okay, but it's aesthetical. Okay. So this is a small and huge detail about property insurance.
Something that you don't necessarily.
Yeah,
something that you don't necessarily want to talk about at the moment of getting your insurance, but something that can become a big deal much later on when you have this situation and you're trying to sort it out.
Yes, could be thousands of euros. The difference.
Right. Okay. All right. So how do we find out that we're covered for such things? I mean, how do you as an expat go through an insurance policy with a fine-tooth comb, as it were? And I don't know what the Portuguese equivalent of a fine-tooth comb is. I'm sure there is a Portuguese saying about fine-tooth combs, but finding the detail. What's the thing to do? Presumably to have a chat with you and just to think more deeply about what it is you're looking from your insurance, and then check with you that it's actually covered.
Is the better way, because I said that I don't like the insurance business, and I don't see insurance as a business. Yeah, it's true, and this is not just saying to stay okay in the picture. This is something that we talk a lot in insurance about us. That is, our main role is not doing insurance. Our main role is protecting. So we need to do the advice, and then people is the one who who need to decide. Okay,
Yeah.
because we can propose, and usually we do. Also, this depends of the property that we are dealing with. Okay, if it's we always propose a regular insurance or a low cost insurance, and a premium one for premium properties. Okay, and when I say premium properties, could be properties just above 500,000 euros. Okay? So our main role is on the business or on the insurance business is to provide information and give our advice, and then it's up to you. Well,
Yeah.
but we need to do our job. Okay.
All right. Well, we love and respect you for this very reason. And it's changed since my day arriving in Portugal, where you'll be in the bank and someone just says life insurance. You go, yes, I'll take it, or health insurance. Yes, I'll take it. I need some of that. We now have this avenue of communication with you.
I'm not so radical, because if you meet someone on a bank that actually understand and know something about insurance, okay, he can clarify you, and you know how it works, and okay, go with the bank, no problem about that.
Yes.
The big problem for me is that usually they don't know anything about insurance. They just need to do some numbers, either number of insurance policies or number of insurance premiums. But it's a question of numbers, not about protection, people. Okay,
Yeah,
because
you're right.
this business is about money.
Well, hold on a minute. Hold the front page. Banking's about money. I can't believe that it's not about it's not about value and social conscience. Then, oh my goodness, I've had enough shocks for one day. Right, so, and I think the way Michael puts it is, would you take medical advice from a banker? And you probably wouldn't, would you? And then again, would you take financial advice from a doctor? It's about expertise and professionalism, isn't it?
It's the same. It's about expertise.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that Paul is looking forward to seeing you today, and that's because you will be at the Portimao. How are you doing this, Nuno? I've not even been myself to the Portimao meetup, and you're going there today. Look at that! A nice. I think I've got a confession to make, Nuno, and I need I need you as a kind of priest to forgive me for this, possibly. But the other day. I had some red wine in the glass, and my kids had a bottle of 7-Up, basically lemonade. I put lemonade into red wine, which is a Portuguese thing, isn't it? Not for the kids, I hasten to add, for myself. And I really liked it. Is that a bad thing? Am I a bad person?
It's not a bad thing, but as long as I know, people start doing that because the wine that people did in the past is not so good. It's not sweet. So yes. So
Okay.
it's a way to put it more smooth, with a smooth taste.
Yeah, it was really
So,
nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And so if your red wine is a little bit ropey, one treatment for it is some really nice cold lemonade, even ice cubes, maybe a twist of lemon, and have a glass that looks like that. Jack Polly there, Jackie down in Portimao. I think she might like. What do Portuguese people call that? Red wine with lemonade.
I don't believe we had a name for that, but if you Spanish have, but I didn't remember the name.
It's the start of a sangria, really, isn't it?
No. That's what I'm going to say. If you add cinnamon, you have the start of a sangria. So.
Okay. Right, okay. Cinnamon. I didn't realize that. Yeah. So fruit and cinnamon in there. So you're never far from some cinnamon in Portugal, let's face it. So party. There's no such thing as a bad red wine as long as you've got some lemonade around and a stick of cinnamon.
Right. That's right.
Thank you for clearing that up for us. Now, while we've got you here, thank you also for the clarification of the devil is in the detail. And I think you are quite radical when it comes to the world of insurance, and that's why we enjoy your insight so much and your help, your assistance from you and your team. People can get in touch with you. You can actually speak to someone when you deal with insurance. We also had a little bit of a conversation late last night about civil protection, because as a somebody in the Scout movement, you were saying that the Scouts are involved with civil protection. Is it possible then that Scout leaders and people high up in the Scouting movement, not the kids obviously, but if the situation worsens, people from the Scouting movement will be assisting the police and the bomberos to come to the aid of the country in an emergency?
Okay, so the civil protection organization, they intervene on critical situations,
Right.
like due to a fire, a huge storm, earthquake, whatever. And they have several organizations that enters at different levels. And the Scout movement is formally part of the civil protection organization.
Yeah.
And we enter on a low level because we don't have, usually, we don't have the knowledge of how to extinguish a fire or rescue someone due to an earthquake or whatever. So the level where we intervene, it's more at like storage and providing food to the ones who are on the front, in the front of the fire, for example. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it makes a lot of sense.
So we are made part of the civil protection formally, and we intervene at a low level on that. We are not we are not in the first frontier of the rescue or extinguish a fire or whatever. So we provide storage. We provide a low level.
Well, and vital though, right? I mean, that sounds amazing how that comes together. And I suppose if the Scouts get involved, they get a sense of civic involvement and civic pride, and they're doing their bit in an emergency.
Yes, actually, I had a very bad experience with fires maybe 8 years ago. And there's when I realized what the fire really is or could be. Because we were on a hiking activity, and the kids they were between 10 and 13 years old. And they are doing their activity with their groups. We have always a car surrounding and checking if everything is okay. And suddenly, a patrol, they face a fire. So our first action was put them away from the fire and put them safe. And then we, the adults, we are trying, and we had the lucky of avoid that the fire pass through one side of the street to another one.
Really?
And it's overwhelmed the power of the energy of a fire, the sound of a fire when it's burning. If the wind comes, you can't imagine how it's in the middle of a fire until you stay there. But once again, it's a question of perspective, because when the firemen arrive and we are all in panic, truly in panic, and they just look to the fire that is consuming all the hill, and they just, oh, it's only that, no problem.
Really? Wow.
And in 2 hours or so, they extinguish the fire.
Really, that's amazing. And that's why I make no apology about going on about it here at this time. When anyone who's had a sense of it knows, don't they, that you just got to be prepared, and you've got to just make the best possible preparations and respect fire deeply, because it's so unforgiving and so dangerous.
Yes.
So thank you for making that connection for us. As you can see here, it's called prociv.pt. And as you can see at the moment, ongoing situations. If you zoom in, if you have a look at that on your screen there, as I'm sharing it, ongoing situations. This is what's happening in Portugal, according to ProCiv. So I'd recommend Foglish.pt. You might like this as well, ProCiv.pt. Ongoing 290 situations involving nearly 2,500 personnel, 753 vehicles and 20 aeroplanes across Portugal right now. So we're very lucky, aren't we, to be able to be sat here having a chat whilst people are facing those sorts of situations all across the country. So let's do what we can to support them.
Yeah, the one in Algarve is no longer here in Quinta do Lago because everything is peaceful. I don't see anymore the smoke. I believe that the wind threw away the fire from here to Vila Moura. I believe that is there where the firemen are now trying to extinguish the fire.
Yes, and we got sadly we got the perfect mix of conditions for fires to break out and spread at the moment. So be careful, folks. Nuno, thank you so much for being here. Oh, sorry. Something went down the wrong way there. Yes, thank you for being here. Anything else you want to mention before you go off? And maybe you could have a little bit of a holiday. I mean, I think everybody here would agree that you do work hard on behalf of your industry and this community. A little bit of peace and quiet and recreation might be good for you.
Well, when we do something with passion,
yes,
we no longer know when it starts the work and the funny. So
well said. Well said. Who doesn't like a bit of passion first thing in the morning, and for that matter, at any time of day? Nuno, the personification of passion about what you do and what you bring to the insurance industry. I hope they look after you in the insurance industry and acknowledge this, and you know, give you some sort of award for putting the passion into the policy, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, well, actually, we could put on our website or Facebook page or whatever the quoters, and people just go there and quote. We can do that, and avoid has a lot of work. But also, if we did that, and we'll never do something like that, we are not allowed to talk with people and understand the specific situation, because we are all different, even through the same situation, the same property, the same health issue. Maybe I could be more a risk taker or a risk avoider. So it depends of each of us.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Nuno. Always great to talk to you. There he goes, putting the passion into the policy in Portugal. I can't think of any more peas that I'm going to squeeze in this morning. But, thank you, mate. Do have a bit of a break and a bit of fun, and do give our love to everybody at the Portimao meetup. I know that Jack has sent in a message to us about that. It's a gin and tonic in that glass with frozen summer fruits. Best kind of ice cubes ever is frozen summer fruit. So thank you for that. Nuno will be there. This happens every second Thursday of the month now in Portimao. And if you want to be involved with that, just drop me a line, 913-590-303. Or Jack, if you want to put a more direct link for people for that, then please do on the chat this morning. Nuno, have a great time, mate. And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay safe.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
and you, friend. Bye for now. There you go. Putting passion into the policy. That's Nuno Mendes for Winsurance there. Winsurance.pt, as you can see on the screen there. I'll leave that on there for just a little bit longer if you want to check out the website where you know you can chat to people, which is very reassuring, rather than just signing a policy in a language you don't understand, which is what I've done in the past. I'm delighted to work with Nuno. From my own personal experience on motoring, on health, and in life insurance as well. Okay, so let's well, look at that. 3 minutes to go. We have got a lot more to do than 3 minutes will allow, so we might hang around a little bit longer. We've got dad jokes. So let's go back to those. Oh, I didn't do the Portuguese sayings with Nuno, but we'll do them on our own here. We'll do them unaided, without the aid of a Portuguese safety net this morning. But it's only right to offer one of these.
Warning. Warning.
Oh, no! Yes. Oh, no. I've got one of these myself, actually. I've got a dad joke meme. So I'm glad the warning has been issued this morning. I read that by law, You must turn on your headlights when it's raining in Sweden. But how am I supposed to know when it's raining in Sweden? Oh, no! My dad got fired from his job as a road worker for theft. I refused to believe it, but when I got home, the signs were all there. Did you hear about the racing snail who got rid of his shell? Oh, he thought it would make him faster, but it just made him sluggish. Very good. And here's and that's especially for banana slug there, isn't it? And here is mine this morning. This is pretty cool, isn't it? This form of humor, very much of our times, isn't it? SMS based humor. Dad sending a text, an SMS to his kid. Someone told me that you sound like an owl. Kid replies, "Whoo!" says Dad at the other end. You're very welcome this morning. Isn't that brilliant? This evening, then, before we go to a few more of your contributions in the chat, expert tips for buying and renting property in Portugal. We got the savvy cat Anna with us from 7:30, and at 9 the conversation will continue about the best place to live in Portugal on the Premium Plus Hangout from 9 o'clock. That migration mastermind that is the Premium Plus, folks. See you there, Premium Plussers, and see anyone who's interested in expert tips for buying and renting in Portugal with Savika Anna from 7:30 on the webinar that Gary referred to. Yeah, those are a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. If you watch the recording only, you miss out on some of the behind the scenes fun at the beginning and after the show. So do join us live for that. It's a lot of fun, as I think Gary will attest there in the chat. Yes, gin and tonic with summer fruits. Very nice touch there, Jack. And did we ever find out what a titio was, I wonder? When it comes to mixing wine with lemonade or water, no, don't mix wine with water, says Antonio F. Moaz. The Spanish decided to mix wine with 7-Up because their wine was so bad, and it was the only way people would drink it. The sangria there. Very good. Let's go back to your comments. This is going to take a little bit of forensic work on my behalf here. We have loads, and inevitably some will get missed this morning. AGL is in asking, and I played that reference to Gilda joining us on a Monday there for you, AGL. Just get in touch with EI to reconfigure your financial situation so it's appropriate and applicable for D7 applications. And Gilda and the team are the people to do that. Helena earlier on, Helena's Portuguese. And you are... I can't remember how to say your name, but you are here as two people this morning, aren't you? We'll go with Helena for the time being, okay? And you're saying it's so good to see that so many people are interested in my country. Oh, and Sir Lion H enjoying my my food that I put up on the screen. If you weren't here earlier on, that's what I cooked last night. All those veggies and herbs are from the garden, the tomatoes and the basil. And that is a linguado, one of the best fishes around. Yeah, expertly and very caringly gutted by the lady at the supermarket. And it was delicious, a flat fish, which I fried in some butter, a little bit of olive oil, some seasoning, just salt and pepper, and some capers. Put some capers in there, and it was delicious with those potatoes that had only been out of the ground for a few minutes, really, before being boiled alive in a pan. Okay, more of your comments then. We talk again this morning of the Zapatero Recheada. Thank you for the recipe yesterday. I will get round to that, and thank you for your culinary tips, Sir Lion H, behind the scenes as well. Pam says, sorry I didn't see you earlier on. When we were first house hunting in 2005, it was a bad year for fires, so we were aware of the danger and avoided houses near woods and isolated areas. I think there were isolation. Thanks, Pam. Good morning to you. I think Darren has gone to bed already, but he was getting the virtual finger wag from Tech Cowgirl. You're supposed to be sleeping, Darren. Maybe you're still here. 97.3 thousand subscribers, a very positive channel. That will be Mr. and Mrs. Adventure. I think we need to speak to him on a show. Are you in touch with him, Darren? Maybe you could help us make that happen. Let's talk to Mr. and Mrs. Adventure. We love talking to other YouTubers. Nom de Plume with a bit of Portuguese there. Very good. Good job there. Thank you, Nom de Plume. I'm confused now. Nom de Plume, you're also here under two different names, aren't you? What's your other name that we know you as? Nom de Plume. And we have, AGL, that question, please put that to EI and the team. Hey, that was one of the Portuguese greetings that I realized. And that's part of the wordplay and the in joke with EI, isn't it? And A is a way of saying hello, hi, here in Portugal, as I understand it. Victoria with a greeting from a hot and sunny Portimao this morning. I wonder if Victoria is going along to the meetup this morning. And yeah, nom de plume, Titio. Did we ever get to the bottom of Titio? Let's find out. What about Porto? Only kidding earlier on. Fabrizio loves Porto, as you could hear. And many other people do here as well. And I think we've got the many different pronunciations of Porto or Porto. Spanish have a drink. It's half beer, half lemonade. So do the British. They call it shandy or a bitter top or a lager top. In Spain, it's called Clara. Panache, also the French. Isn't that a French little bottle of beer that you give to kids? Only kidding again. Although sometimes, no, it's just what my parents did to me. I think adding sparkling water to white wine would be nice. Is that a spritzer? I think there. Yeah, it sounds very refreshing. But like Antonio says, you don't want to be ruining good wine with that sort of caper, do you? Coach's tip for the day, Nuno, even top athletes rest from time to time. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, he is a passionate fellow, isn't he? Putting the passion into the policy there. And that's why he seems to be working all the time, because he loves his job. He's one of those lucky people. Me too, by the way. I've had green wine in Lisbon. It tasted like someone mixed apple juice into it, says Moaz. I think you probably need to be a bit more discerning with your choice of Vinho Verde there. I love Vinho Verde. I haven't had any Vinho Verde since I've been back on the booze, actually. I must put that right. A wine with ice, if you can't wait for the fridge to chill it quick enough, says Jack Polly. I think that's a bit of a Marmite suggestion, isn't it? Some wine aficionados will be scoffing about that, but I'm with you, Jack, on that one. I'd rather have it cold, or be patient. Maybe stick it in the freezer for a little while. We also drink cold wine, usually white, rosé, or green, but we just put it in the refrigerator. That's a good idea. Why did I think of that? Carl, gutted. Oh, no, not gutted in that sense. Carl, we gutted our mackerel at sea yesterday, gave the inners heads to seagulls, a wee treat. Yeah, what a great idea. Circle of life sort of stuff. Carl, reminder, the H in Portuguese is silent. Thank you, Banana James. Elena is pronounced Elena if it's Portuguese. Thank you very much for that mention. Yes, Sarah Smith or Sarah Smith is nom de plume. Don't forget to fondle the like button. Thank you very much, Cindy, for that reminder there. And Portuguese version is panache rather than panache. I can't remember where I saw that, and do forgive me if I've missed any of your comments this morning. I've been a bit all over the place this morning, put about as I am by the fire situation. Nice one, Joao F. Porto, where is that? And while we're talking about great places, yeah, Braganza, says Elena there. Thank you very much. Titio is title, possibly. Yes, and the strategic use of the word push, which you'll get used to, I think, in Portugal over time. We probably need a fuller description of that, don't we? Next time Philomena's on, we'll ask her about strategic use of the push. Full coverage, a policy comment there. I think insurance policies, full coverage. When you dig deeper, when you look in the long grass, terms and conditions say that everything is excluded. That'll be, the full coverage of exclusions, possibly there. Titio is possibly a little Brazilian uncle. Now, I can't think why Sarah nom de plume would be wanting. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a little Brazilian uncle, but I don't see it on many people's lists of must-haves when moving country. But it takes all sorts, nom de plume, with that. Let's have a look then. Last few comments. Grace, Capricorn 12. And Titio is Brazilian for Chichio. And okay, now it makes sense. A little Titio in the mix, they wouldn't go amiss. An older gentleman. Okay, nom de plume, we get you now. Can we help with that? I don't know if you should be putting such invitations on the Expats Portugal forum, expatsportugal.com/community. I suspect you might have a few interested older gentlemen, though, should you do that. Be safe. And Portuguese version is panache. Oh, okay, we've done that one. That was the shandy. Portuguese shandy, panache, everybody. Very weak in the alcohol department. Vinho Verde Tinto. My northern Portuguese relatives make it very popular up there, yes. Fresh red wine, I'm guessing that would be right. Green red up there in northern Portugal. Isn't it great? We live in such a wonderful country with such a diverse subculture. Fizzy red in the Barrada, where you have Andy and his rallies up there in the north of Portugal. Fizzy and fresh green red up there as well. All lovely things to try all around Portugal. When you're scouting, when you're living here. What an amazing place we live in. Isn't it nice to be able to finish the show saying that and to play the theme tune and the outro video created by the wonderful Peter Wilton Davies, who I met yesterday for the first time. He sent me a message. You know what he said? He said it was nice. I sent him a message thanking him for coming along. And he sent me a message along the lines of, it was nice to meet you. You're much nicer than people say, I think was something that he said to me. So on that note, and with Pete's outro to share with you, wish you a great day. Maybe see you at the webinar tonight with Savvy Cat and Premium Plus folks. See you at 9. And in the morning, bit of fun, Feel Good Friday. I think I've yet to confirm it with the two gents, but with Phil and Ian. But you know, whoever it's going to be in the morning, we're going to have some Feel Good Friday fun. Take care. Bye for now. Yes, stay safe, stay prepared, stay alert, and we'll see you in the morning. Lots of love. Take care, and bye for now.